Alright, guys, just watch these clips, okay? Take a look at this one. Just tell me if you think that this person right here aims or behaves like a human or a robot. Let's see another one. From the same game, by the way. Okay, this one, right? What the fuck is going on in Call of Duty? You cannot convince me that this person is a human. I'm sorry, but you can't. Look, kills me the same way, basically the same spot. Let's slow it down. Let's see the aim. So he stems. He's tracking, but look how weird this looks, man. I don't know. Let's see another one. Same guy from earlier. What is he shooting at? What is he pinging? So look, guys, I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole last night about Call of Duty's patents, and I wanted to just go in and test the gameplay, and I made it through 2 matches before I just uninstalled the game again. It was that bad, and I'm going to make a video today about what I uncovered on these patents and how I think that not only are these patents being used in multiplayer right now, but how they correlate to topics like skill-based damage, skill-based matchmaking, and NPC bots inside of multiplayer. So, if you're not aware, there's a ton of different videos about Activision's patents out there, and I would highly recommend checking out some of these because this shit is so much more fucked up than I originally thought. And in this video, I don't want to go super in-depth into each individual patent. Rather, I would like to summarize these patents at a high level, explain how these in-game elements are causing Call of Duty to probably become the most rigged multiplayer experience I've ever seen in the history of video games. Like, this is some really gross shit that's going on. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. But before I start, please do me a favor and like this video and share it with some of the larger content creators that you follow. I really do believe that if we as a community can band together and start calling out some of this BS in the game, I really do think that we can influence change, because this has gone way too far, and I really mean that sincerely at this point. It is undoubtable what they're doing in this game. So I already know, just by probably the title of this video and the intro and people's attention span not being able to last longer than 3 minutes, people are probably going to come in and say something to the sort of, well, just because a patent exists doesn't mean that it's implemented in the game. Well, let me provide a bit of a counter argument here. Activision, at the end of the day, is a business. They care about one thing and one thing only, and they have proven this time and time again. That one thing that they care about so much is money. And I think that people need to start waking up to the idea that this developer, Activision, Treyarch, Infinity Ward, they do not see us as players. They see us as ATMs and test subjects. If a company that cares a lot about money, cares only about money, really, why would they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars researching, hiring people to develop and create these patents? It makes absolutely no sense to create these patents and not use them. Guys, come on. Fucking think for a second. Let me give you a little metaphor, right? Imagine walking into a casino. It has slot machines, it has cards, it has roulette, you name it. The casino's goal is very, very similar to Activision's, to keep you engaged and spending as much money as possible. So how do they achieve this? Well, they design games that hook you in, offer you just enough small wins to keep you chasing that dream of hitting the jackpot. And it's very, very similar to engagement-based matchmaking in games, as well as skill-based matchmaking and playing with NPCs. So let me ask another question. Why would a casino create a game for people to play? Let's say they developed a new slot machine game, they made a patent for it, and not use it. Guys, wake the fuck up. Activision, Call of Duty, all of this is literally a casino. Think about it. Step further. What about the high rollers? The casino rewards them with perks like free drinks, luxury hotel rooms to keep them and encourage them to spending more money. Now think about how events are run in games. It's the same exact idea. Oh, the community may or may not hit the elimination goal. So if you spend $30 now, you can unlock this weapon automatically. It's all about incentivizing spending exactly like a casino. So with that in mind, let's dive into the core of this video where I'll tackle two key topics that I don't really see being discussed by other content creators. First, I want to break down these patents and how they're likely to influence skill-based matchmaking, skill-based damage scaling, and the integration of NPC bots directly into multiplayer games where you do not actually know that they're in there. So beyond that, I'll explore the real reason behind patching of two-boxing, reverse boosting, as well as showing you how it perfectly aligns with the concepts that I'm presenting in these three categories. All right, so let's get into it. So how I conducted this research was somewhat straightforward. I used ChatGPT to help me find all of the patents that were associated with the different categories I mentioned, skill-based damage, skill-based matchmaking, and NPCs in multiplayer. And I actually identified 6 different patents that looked pretty suspicious to me, and I looked through these documents while asking my little AI buddy to analyze them and describe how each patent and their implementation could potentially affect gameplay. So after I created that, I have this chart that it basically categorizes each of the patents into their specific relation to the topics that I mentioned: SBMM, SBD, and NPC bots in multiplayer lobbies. So here's what I found. Now, at this point, we know that SBMM is in the game. We also know that Activision, for years, tried to cover this up and were actively avoiding the topic until we were all able to test it ourselves and shine a light on it. So does this sound familiar to the situation that is going on today? It is exactly what's going on right now with skill-based damage and NPC bots in multiplayer. So let's, again, apply some logic for a moment. Call of Duty has a pattern of lying and being deceptive to its player base. That is a fact. They tried to cover up SBMM for a long time before they actually addressed it, and now we have this whole community that keeps on calling out Call of Duty for skill-based damage, NPCs being in lobbies, and what are they doing? Well, they really aren't doing anything. Now, let me ask you guys a very simple question. Why not? Why not address this if it's not in the game? And I think I actually finally have an answer to that. So it actually falls into 4 different categories. Number 1 is transparency. Players are often unaware of the underlying adjustments or experiments that Activision affects their gameplay experience with. So this lack of disclosure can definitely, well, let's just say, erode some trust in the developer and maybe even the fairness of the game. Okay, well, that, makes sense somewhat, but let's explore some other options. Number 2, consent. While the broad consent is implied through their TOS, and you can actually go look at their terms of service, players may not explicitly agree to participate in certain types of experiments involving matchmaking, difficulty adjustments, or NPC integrations. So lack of explicit consent could potentially lead to some legal challenges for Activision, particularly in regions with very strict consumer or privacy laws. So it may actually be a legal issue why they are not addressing anything, which actually makes a lot more sense than the third point I have here, which is fairness. Experimental systems unintentionally cause a lot of unbalanced or unfair gameplay experiences, leading to frustration, loss of trust. I mean, just so many different issues. But it's really... Look, I don't think Call of Duty really cares about their players' opinions of them at this point. Let's be completely real here. I think that they're trying to cover up something a lot bigger and more sinister, which leads me to point number 4, data privacy. So all patents include and involves some sort of collection and use of player data, which may actually not comply with global data protection laws like GDPR in Europe or CCPA in California. So if they're not safeguarding this data or disclosing its use for testing, well, guess what? They could get their asses sued. So look, guys, my theory is very simple. They're saying nothing about it because they can't. Do you really think, while they are bleeding players right now, they wouldn't just come out and say, yo, this shit isn't in the game to save face a little bit? Of course they would. This is business. This is public relations. They need people to play and engage with the game to make money. They need the game to do well, to get good reviews. They need to have good NPS scores. They cannot talk about or address the issues in this game because they are likely in the game and speaking about it, legally speaking about it, saying anything publicly misleading may actually set them up for legal troubles. So it's bright as day, guys. You may think I'm wrong, but they know that they're wrong. And it's very likely they know that they fucked up, but guess what? They can't talk about it at all. Look, it's a multi-billion-dollar company. They have resources. They have, their development team. They have lawyers. Their devs are under strict NDAs. I mean, if you don't think that every single press release that they come out with isn't being read over and green-lighted by a legal team, you are a fucking idiot. So, let's get into the patents. I am just going to simply describe each one and how it is being used in the game to influence our experience. And now I say it is, but I mean, I think legally speaking, I'm speculating a bit because I can't actually prove anything, disclaimer here, but based on my observation, based on the patterns of behavior displayed by Activision, I do believe that each and every single one of these patents are being used in the online multiplayer for Black Ops 6 and probably have been used in other online multiplayers, including Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3. So, patent US 201-70259177A1, dynamic difficulty adjustment. I mean, guys, it's in the fucking name. It is in the fucking name. So, description of the patent itself describes a system that monitors player performance and adjusts in-game difficulty in real time to maintain engagement. So, adjustments could involve altering different damage outputs, enemy difficulties, so maybe NPC bots, or other gameplay elements. So how it could be used, right? Dynamic gameplay tuning. This system could simply monitor player performance, metrics like accuracy, win-to-loss ratio, reaction time, and adjust gameplay parameters such as how difficult your opponent is, how much damage you are doing with your weapons, how much damage the opponent is doing with their weapons, environmental challenges or changes. These adjustments could mimic SBMM by artificially balancing matches in the match to maintain competitiveness. Another thing that they could be doing is performance-based matchmaking experiments, adjusting difficulty based on individual performance metrics. This could very well be part of the reason why we have that SBMM effect and why everything feels so fucking artificial. The player behavior could involve engagement levels, frustration thresholds. They could be listening to you through your mic to hear if you're tilted, and could be analyzed to better refined SBMM parameters. Guys, this is some fucking weird shit, all right? So adaptive opponent behavior as well. This patent discusses the potential to adjust the difficulty of opponents, AI or player control, based on real-time player performance. This could also, again, be part of the reason why we're even talking about skill-based damage. So this patent, really fucking weird. Next one. US 10786739B2, dynamic adjustment of availability of access to video games. So, the description of this. This patent allows game access to be modified and based on external factors such as real-world events or player activity models. Examples include enabling special game modes or content during peak times. Think about maybe, I don't know, events, or maybe even experiments where they put some people into lobbies without SBMM or some people into lobbies with SBMM. Does this sound, I don't know, familiar at all to anyone? So what does this pattern actually do? So it's going to go in, it's going to track player activity such as session length, preferred modes, performance metrics, which could all inform SBMM testing. Data collected during these tests could also help refine matchmaking parameters without explicit user consent. So, guys, this pattern is being used. It's literally being used. Experimentation without notification is a pattern that they have right now that is active and being implemented in the game. On to the next one, US 102863226B2, soft reservation system for multiplayer video games. So basically, this one introduces a soft reservation system that preemptively reserves a spot in upcoming matches for players who are predicted to continue playing. How could this be used? Well, let's think about it. This reservation could be assigning players to matches based on predictive behaviors. It could be attributed to skill levels, past performances, and basically it is using a very specific SBMM algorithm that developers could test for different configurations, more or less saying, okay, well, we have an algorithm that uses strict versus loose SBMM, and again, they're doing this without informing players, and we basically figured it out on our own, and that's the reason why they had to address it. So we've already uncovered, 2 of these patents as a community. So what makes you think that they're not using all of them at this point? But we'll get into some more as well. Another one, system and methods for dynamically weighing match variables. This is US 10857468B2. Basically is a matchmaking system that dynamically adjusts variables like player preferences, skill levels, and recent performances to create a balanced match. This is basically team balancing. Again, this is something that is in the game. We can all observe it. It's happening. And it's basically using real-time matching adjustments to dynamically weigh certain variables and win-to-loss ratios, also play style preferences to create optimized matches. So basically, every time that you boot into a multiplayer match, it is not random at all. There is not an aspect to the matchmaking that is random in the slightest. It is all predetermined. They look at your playstyle, they look at every individual metric that you have on your profile, and they use that to match you with a team that is highly optimized to play against another team. All right, so this is the one that really pushed me over the edge, because we have now talked about 3 patents that we know for a fact that are in the game. It is tested, it has been addressed by Activision, they are in the game, they are being utilized, and they are active. So US 20200114264A1, NPC simulation across devices. So the description of this patent basically is a proposed system for simulating NPCs across player devices to reduce server strain and synchronize behaviors. So how could this be used? Well, number one, NPCs could be used as balancing agents in matches. So NPC controlled via the system could dramatically or dynamically be inserted into multiplayer lobbies to fill gaps when human players are unavailable, or maybe when human players start to back out of matches and they can't find anyone else to fill, or they don't want to throw a human player into a losing lobby. Does this sound familiar? Does this sound like a possibility that could be happening, well, right now? I think that it is extremely likely, and if it's not being used right now, it is extremely likely that this is going to be used in the future. Guys, from the clips that I showed at the beginning, I think they've already started, to be honest. And again, in their terms of service, it basically covers for all of this. They can run tests in the multiplayer without our consent. So during times of low player activities, NPCs could be used to maintain full matches while also serving as a control group for SBMM. This system might also test how players react to matches with and without NPCs within the game. So, guys, all of this is being used to better refine this skill-based matchmaking algorithm. So these NPC behaviors could also be adjusted in-game based on player performance metrics, such as kill-death ratios. Maybe one person is doing extremely well. Well, I guess what would happen after that? Maybe there's an NPC bot on the other team that identifies this and targets that person in order for it to be a more fair and fun gameplay for the rest of the team. And this would also allow developers to simulate different SBMM scenarios without directly altering the matchmaking algorithms for human players. So not only are they using us as test subjects, but they're also using AI bots as test subjects against us. This is some weird, fucked up shit. And that leads us to our last patent, US 201.16.0001181A1 matchmaking system for multiplayer video games. It outlines a system that uses historical player data to optimize matchmaking. This system dynamically updates criteria based on observational player behavior. So, guys, again, this patent is also being used. And I know I'm covering each of these patents on a very, very high level here, but I would highly encourage you to go take a look at these patents and dig a little bit deeper, because if you just read through them, they're just fucking gross, man. And if you're not already feeling nauseous, let me shed some light on to the real reason why I believe they patch two boxing and reverse boosting. And you're about to all see how it connects. So first, let me ask you this. Two boxing has been around for years. So why are they only now fixing it? Is it really to protect lower skill players like they claim? Absolutely not. The real reason is far more sinister. They are trying to cover up the fact that lower level lobbies are likely filled with bot accounts, not real players at all. It is highly probable that the bottom 10%, 25% of Call of Duty players are not even playing against humans. They are playing against bots. Guys, this is a reality that we need to face. There are bots in Call of Duty. I am almost 100% convinced at this point. And it is no coincidence that this patch came out just as people started digging into more topics like skill-based damage, the presence of bots in multiplayer, and what's more disgusting is that many of us, myself included, have watched content creators showcase these high kill gameplays in two-box lobbies. But here's the kicker. They likely weren't even playing against real people. Those insane clips and gameplays, yeah, that could have easily been achieved in a private match with recruit level bots. In fact, I bet that during the free trial period that they had, the free trial weekend, they were probably just filling all of the new players' lobbies with lower level bots to get them hooked to the game, get them to play and buy the battle pass, buy cosmetics. Very similar to the way casinos send you a free night at the hotel or a free dinner at the hotel lounge. It is all in the same vein. So think about it. All those crazy kill streaks, high kill matches, jaw-dropping clips that you've seen. It's all fake. It is all manufactured to look impressive. It is artificial. And the real reason why they're fixing it now, because as a community, we are starting to finally wake up. So where are we at now? Well, either you are playing against a bot or a real player, or maybe you're playing against a real player that is cheating with a device like a Cronus Zen, which would be more of like a soft cheating, or they are blatantly hacking with aimbots. or wall hacks. That is the Call of Duty player base right now. So, I'm just going to conclude it here. If you really think that all of these patents are just sitting around and not being used, you are either stupid or playing stupid at this point. This game is 100% rigged. And if you think for a moment that these NPCs do not exist, skill-based damage does not exist, they are not adjusting in-game parameters like aim assist, damage points, anything like that, guys, wake up. This game is completely fucked. It has fucked this franchise up beyond all belief. And for someone that has loved Call of Duty since I was like 12 years old, it is deeply insulting. And I do not think that we should stand for this bullshit any longer. So stop defending this company, stop playing the game, and start putting out your opinion. Like, use your voice to get some of this shit changed. Like, this is some fucked up shit this company is doing. But yeah, that's pretty much all for today. And if you enjoyed this video, drop me a like, subscribe, helps me out a ton, and definitely share this with someone in the Call of Duty community that you follow as well.